Good morning. Welcome to our Knox County R1 schools today to celebrate our Veterans Day. Our community, our students, and our staff have worked really hard to bring this celebration for you. I hope that you have all enjoyed the delicious breakfast of biscuits and gravy prepared by our kitchen staff. Also, as you entered the building, you've noticed a lot of artwork that our students have put together. I would like to thank our art teachers, Mrs. Hunt and Mrs. Lucas, for their leadership and planning. I would also like to thank Mrs. Henry, Mrs. Bowen, and Mr. Rail for the fine music that you're about to hear. Our students in grades K through 12 have each written a special letter for the veterans, thanking them for their service to our country. Their letters will be featured in the video that will be presented, and they will be delivered during the to the veterans during the mail call. A special thanks to all the teachers who guided the students through this letter writing process. Another special thanks today goes to retired Knox County elementary teacher Mrs. Marsha Pinson for playing on the piano to accompany our elementary students as they sing. Thank you to Mrs. McNabb and the students in National Honor Society for helping out this morning. Thank you to the custodians for setting up and making all the preparations necessary for this assembly. And a very special thanks goes to the Veterans Day Committee for organizing this wonderful event. The members are Jennifer Orton, Tisha Goodwin, Lisa Clark, Keith Goodhouse, Karen Hodge, Tanya Hunt, Kim Henry, and Chairman Mrs. Frances Jones. This is a great assembly, so when you're done today, you might thank them. Also, we would like to thank our board members for helping seat our guests. We would also like to recognize our high school math teacher, retired Lieutenant Colonel Keith Goodhouse, for not only his service to our country, but also for his patriotic leadership in our community. Keith will be leading our ceremony today. Thank you for coming to our program. It is with great appreciation and solemn respect that we celebrate the sacrifices that our veterans have made on our behalf. Please enjoy this program, and may I present to you retired Lieutenant Colonel Keith Goodhouse.
Good morning. Thank you again to Mr. Turgeon. I want to welcome you all once again to this fantastic ceremony that we have here. Like I say, every year I've been to several of these throughout my military career. This is among the very best, if not the very best, that I've ever been to, and that says a lot about this community and about the administration and all the people that put that together. I had a long list of thank yous to put out. I think Mr. Turgeon did a fantastic job of hitting on those, so I'm not going to go through that whole list. Again, I do want to just pay a special thanks to the members of our local VFW and American Legion posts. A lot of people don't really know what we do when we're not at events like this, but things like honoring our veterans at military funerals is one of the most important things we do. And a lot of these guys, this isn't easy for them anymore, but they still find a way to get out there and attend every one of those events. So if you would, please join me in a round of applause for them. One important thing I do want to do before we get into the formal ceremony is just recognize some of the special guests that we have here today. Now, there are going to be some others that I'll introduce as we go through the program, but these are ones who are joining us today and won't necessarily see up front. But first, the Commander Doug White, of course, is our speaker today, and I'll give him a longer introduction later. But he has family, and his children are here with him. His mother and father, Robert and Carol White, his children, Michael and Maggie White. Also joined by Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Hutt, who's Professor of Military Science at Truman State University, who I get the honor of interacting with quite a bit. He's joined today by two of his cadre, Major Gary Goodman and Sergeant First Class Brad Watson. So please join me in welcoming all of these people here today. So under the formal ceremony, at this time I would ask you to please rise and join me as we render honors to our flag. And please remain standing as we go through the national anthem and the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, our elementary music students will sing "My Country 'Tis of Thee." As is our tradition, which is one of the oldest that we've had here, at least since my return, we're now going to provide a demonstration of honoring our American flag with a proper flag holding ceremony. Mr. Ed Anderson has graciously volunteered to guide our student representatives through this process. So if I could ask all of them to come forward, please, on the stage up here and join Mr. Anderson. And I have a list of names if you've forgotten who you are. Shelton Boatman, Sky View, Jenna Strange, Kyle Strange, Noah Dalton, and Katie Wiles. ready, I'm just going to read a little something. In the military, the flag is lowered daily at the last note of retreat. Special care should be taken that no part of the flag touches the ground. The flag is then carefully folded into the shape of a tri-cornered hat, emblematic of the hats worn by colonial soldiers during the War for Independence. In the folding, the red and white stripes are finally wrapped into the blue as the light of day vanishes into the darkness of night. To properly fold the flag, begin by holding it waist high with other people so that its surface is parallel to the ground. Hold the lower half of the stripe section lengthwise over the field of stars, holding the bottom and top edges securely. Fold the flag again lengthwise with the blue field on the outside. Make a triangular fold by bringing the striped corner of the folded edge to meet the open top edge of the flag. Turn the outer end point inward, parallel to the open edge to form a second triangle. The triangular folding is continued until the entire length of the flag is folded in this manner. When the flag is completely folded, only a triangular blue field of stars should be visible. It's not an easy thing to do. Please join me in thanking our volunteers for their assistance. At this time, I'd like to welcome Representative Craig Redmond and thank him for being with us today. Representative Redmond, a Republican, represents Schuyler, Scotland, Clark, Knox, Lewis, and Adair counties, District 4, in the Missouri House of Representatives. He was elected to his first two-year term in November of 2010. In addition to his legislative duties, Representative Redmond owns a small business in Monticello. He previously owned and operated a convenience store and is a 1977 graduate of Highland High School. Representative Redmond received his Bachelor of Science from Culver Stockton in 1982. Born on January 29, 1959 in Kirksville, Representative Redmond currently resides in Canton with his wife, Brenda. They are the parents of twins, Andrew and Audrey. Please join me in welcoming Representative Redmond.
Thank you and good morning. I'm so proud, honored, and humbled to be a part of this celebration. There's a lot of things in my job that I have to do. This is one of the things that I get the honor of participating in, and I'm glad that I do. I want to thank Knox County High School for putting this celebration on. It's fantastic. It's grown every year, and thank you for allowing me to be here. I especially want to thank our veterans for their service, giving us this great country that we get the privilege of living in. And hopefully we will not take that for granted. Thank you very much. God bless America, and thank you.
Now, I'd like to introduce one of our very own, Commander Doug White, U.S. Navy, a native of Edina, Missouri, and a 1996 graduate of Knox County High School. Commander White graduated with merit from the United States Naval Academy in 2000 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Marine Engineering. He earned his wings of gold as a Naval Flight Officer in 2002. He's held numerous leadership positions throughout the Navy and around the world. He's deployed to both Iraq and Afghanistan and flown combat missions and in support of combat missions in both of those areas. Currently, Commander White is assigned to the U.S. Strategic Command, first as a nuclear strike advisor and now as an action officer in the Acquisitions Advanced Programs Office. Additionally, Commander White graduated from the U.S. Army, good move, Command and General Staff College in 2014 as an Art of War Scholar, earning a Master's of Military Arts and Sciences degree in Modern Military History. Commander White has received numerous personal awards and has flown more than 120 combat missions in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, New Dawn, Odyssey Dawn, Unified Protector, and Enduring Freedom. He's the son of Robert and Carol White of Edina and proud father to Michael and Maggie White. Please join me in welcoming Commander Doug White.
Thanks for being with us. Good morning, Knox County. It's great to be back. 20 years ago, I stood in this auditorium and walked right behind me there. I got my high school diploma. It's just fantastic to be back here. See all the students and all the veterans on this room. I'd like to share as well that Colonel Ludd, that was introduced previously, was one of my instructors at the Command General Staff College a few years back, and it's good to see you again. You're going to have the Colonel's not great campus. The military truly is a very small world. Also, as a fellow member of the Sea Service, I'd like to wish all the Marines in the audience a happy birthday. Yesterday, on November 10th, this marked the 241st anniversary of the creation of the Marine Corps in 1775. Like I mentioned, 20 years ago, I walked across this stage and claimed my high school diploma. I went on to the Naval Academy and studied engineering there, but my time with the Army allowed me to revisit my second academic love, and that's history. And accordingly, I'd like to start with a bit of history. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, an armistice was signed in a train car in France, thus bringing an end to World War I. The origin of Veterans Day began 3 years later in 1921, when an unknown soldier was buried at Arlington National Cemetery on November 11th. And this established the tomb of the unknown. The other Allied countries, World War I, did the same on that day as a symbolic gesture of the great sacrifice that was paid by all the countries during the Great War. In 1926, then, the 11th of November was officially designated Armistice Day, and would have remained that way as World War II got broken out 13 years later. So in 1954, President Eisenhower designated the 11th of November as Veterans Day. I think it's important to note that the origins of this date and the sentiment behind it were meant to honor the sacrifice of the fallen. I think it's extremely important to recognize veterans and their service, but I'd also be willing to bet that whenever a veteran is recognized for their service or thanked for it, their thoughts go to a friend, shipmate, squadron mate, or squad mate that paid the ultimate sacrifice for his country. I know mine do. Also, I've always thought that Veterans Day never really has a venue among students that Memorial Day never has a venue among students that Veterans Day does, simply due to its place on the calendar and the relative position of the school year to that. Today I'd like to shift our thoughts for a few moments to another one of our native sons, another one of our own. Right there on my right wrist, I wear a bracelet that I've worn there since 2005. And on that bracelet it says, Travis L. Burkhart, Sergeant, United States Army. Killed in action, 06 June 2003, Iraq. In the warrior tradition, they say that those who are gone are never truly gone as long as their name is spoken and their story is told. Today I'd like to tell Travis's story. Travis also grew up in Edina. He walked these same halls, graduated from the same high school year before me in 1995. So I knew Travis. I had classes with him. I was in the band with him. Had an ag class with him and a couple of shop classes. Travis wasn't the best student, as far as I can remember. And he didn't always know the best crowd. And he certainly didn't always stay out of trouble. The one thing about Travis, though, that he was always laughing and always joking. And that group of friends that he ran with were always playing pranks on each other. And one particular prank, in particular that I remember, that they played on each other, and I don't remember who did it to whom. But they would, back in the day, there was a library in high school, and there was all these magazines, and inside the magazines were these little pull-out cards that you could order. Because back then you could order things cash on delivery. So you could order something and you wouldn't have to pay for it until it showed up. And so one day one of these guys decides that, I'm going to order this 30-foot flagpole and have it delivered to one of these other guys. And so he did this and filled out the whole card and sent it. And, a couple months later, this flagpole shows up at the guy's house in the morning when the driver was ready to pay. And so, this is the level of prank that these guys would see. Just absolutely hilarious. Just can you imagine that? But that's an example of a sense of humor. Travis graduated high school here and he wanted to join the Army. There was only one problem with that. Travis was overweight. I don't mean a little bit overweight. Travis was a big boy. And to get in the Army or into the military, you have to be within height and weight standards to do it. But Travis wanted it. And I think that's when he did something that kind of surprised everybody. He started working out. He got with his recruiter. They worked out a plan, and he worked hard. He got on a diet, and that weight started to come off. I'm guessing he probably lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 or 80 pounds in order to even get to the point where he could enlist in the Army. And sometimes I've thought about that, where he got that drive from. I'd like to think that it's at least partially a result of having grown up in this community and being surrounded by people that value hard work and determination. About that time, when he entered the Army, I graduated from here and I went off to the Naval Academy, and then right after I finished flight school, in 2002, I was on leave and I ran into Travis in CNR, the grocery store. And I say I ran into him, but really he ran into me because I didn't recognize him. I walked right past him in the store. He had lost so much weight that I didn't even recognize him. He said something to me, and then that's how I knew he was there. We talked for a little bit. He told me that he'd become a military policeman in the Army, and that he'd be stationed in Hawaii, and that they did a lot of bike patrols, and that was another reason why he continued to live the way that he had gone along. He had built a life in the Army and was applying to become a warrant officer so that he could fly helicopters. He was so full of determination and hope in his life. Travis died on June 6, 2003. He was a non-commissioned officer in charge of a group of deputies, military policemen working to secure Baghdad. They'd been awake for over 24 hours, and the drivers of his Humvee fell asleep at the wheel and struck a bridge above him. Travis didn't survive the impact. He was 26. sound of his laugh, because he laughed all the time. And I think about that indomitable spirit that he had. And he applied that to overcome all kinds of obstacles in his life. As I mentioned, he didn't always have the best grades, and he didn't always run with the right crowd, and he didn't always stay out of trouble. But there came a point in his life when he decided that he was going to do something, that he had a goal, and he set out to achieve that goal. And he tenaciously pursued that, and he achieved it. In closing, for the students in the audience, I ask this of you. Out in the hallway there, when you walk past the class photo of 1995, I'd ask you to remember Travis. I want you to remember his sacrifice, but more importantly, I want you to remember his determination and tenacity. Remember Travis when times are tough, when adversity confronts you, and when you want to give up. Because he didn't. And he came from the same place you come from, with the same upbringing, same school. Remember, anything's possible if you want it badly. If you're willing to put in the work, and maintain a razor-sharp focus on achieving that goal, you can do it. This school and this town and this county gives you an advantage because the values ingrained in this area serve as an example of what you need to have in order to achieve. I've served with a lot of people in my career, and I've come to realize how lucky I was to grow up. People here are no stranger to hard work and the service to something that is larger than themselves. I would encourage you, as citizens of this great nation, I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that this is the greatest nation in the world. I've been to a lot of them. Think about how you can give back. Think about how you can serve. And that doesn't necessarily mean you as a civic leader in your community, volunteerism. There's lots of ways to get back. I want you to think about how you can do that. I would encourage you to set goals for yourself and to chart the course to achieve those goals. All the faculty in this gym, all your family, all your community leaders are ready to help you do that. I can tell you that I wouldn't be where I am today without my family and the teachers that supported me. Where I am today all started because of a Naval Academy admissions catalog that was sitting on the shelf in the counselor's office. Looking at you, Frank. And a physics teacher that flew guns to Vietnam that told me that I was getting out of the hat. We have a saying in the military, how much you remember it. Fortune favors the bold. You can do it. It's been an honor to speak to you today. Thank you for the opportunity, and it's great to be back. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Great job. I think I can speak on behalf of everybody to say that we're proud of you and proud that you're from this county. At this time, we'll hear the Knox County Marching Eagles present the service method, which includes the song of each of our services. I would invite each of our veterans to stand and be recognized when you hear your service song. Thank you. again, I'm going to turn it back over to our elementary music students for another song.
Thank you for your service to our country. You are very courageous for putting yourself in danger to help people you don't even know so they can sleep peacefully at night.
Thank you for serving this great land of ours.
For protecting us. For making us feel safe. Thank you for your greatness. Thank you for being a hero. I appreciate that you risked your life for us. I am thankful for my freedom to go to school.
So thank you again for what you have given up for kids like me.
It takes a lot of courage and a lot of guts to join the service, and that's why I'm thanking you.
You didn't do it for the attention, you did it for the country.
I understand that our appreciation stretches beyond the spacious skies and the waves of prayer.
I appreciate that you sacrificed your life for us.
When I think of a veteran, I think of someone who has a good heart and someone who is willing to risk their lives for our freedom.
You good at your job. You are brave. So brave you don't even know.
You are trustworthy and honest.
You are really special to us.
You sure are one of a kind.
Fighting had to be very hard, and I'm sure it took a mental and physical toll on you all.
How do you do it? I would be a little bit scared.
Your bravery and commitment to our great country make you our ultimate role models.
Everyone is capable of doing something brave. You actually did.
It's like you are the U.S. superheroes. One day I want to be strong like you.
And do something this important with my life.
We all have a dream to become something, but if you hadn't fought for us, we wouldn't be able to enjoy life like we do now.
There's only one day set aside on the calendar to celebrate our veterans, but in reality, we celebrate them every day by demonstrating all of our freedoms, even if we don't really think about it or realize it.
I am lucky to have this freedom.
I will always stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem under any circumstances until my last day.
I am proud to be an American.
You made the decision and took the sacrifice to defend our country. I can't really think of a more selfless and honorable action. Therefore, it's very challenging to think of how we can repay you, because in a way, we really can't.
I wish I could give you the world because that is what you deserve.
Thank you for attending our annual Veterans Day celebration. We hope that we have honored you in a way that makes you feel appreciated.
We love singing for you on Veterans Day. Our country is glad to have people like you.
It brings our school great pleasure to honor you.
We love you. You are heroes.
Great job again, Jennifer. Thanks very much for putting that together. One of our final events is to conduct a mail call for each of our veterans here today. Each veteran will be presented with a letter written by one of our Knox County students. So I know Sergeant Wright is going to help me. If there's anybody else who'd like to come up and assist in handing out those letters, I would certainly appreciate that. So as I call your name, if you would please stand up and let us know you're here, one of these fine gentlemen will bring you a letter. Ed Anderson. Chuck Martin. Chuck may not be here. I want to go ahead and call their name just so they're recognized. Ken Berry. Maynard Blackwood. Tom Boatman. John Brayton, Ed Briggenhimke, Cole Campbell, Eldon Campbell, Charles Cantrell, Deanna Cantrell, Gary Clare, Larry Clark, Bob Corbin, Dave Coop, Maurice DeBroccolier, Don Delaney, Jimmy Dick, Lawrence Dixon, Steve Dixon, Pam Dalton, Daniel. David Fagan. Brent Frankie. Kent Frankie. Mike Fox. Evan Glasgow. Tim Goings. Kenneth Wade Goodson. Larry Goodson. Richard Dale Goodson. Jeff Gozakowski. Phil Gregg. Tom Gray. I'll read this name if you struggle with it. Keith Goodhouse. Donald Hall. Ivan Hall. Frank Hamlin. Harley Hamlin. David Hatfield. Larry Hayes. Jerry Holman. Don Howe. J.R. Howe. Gene Kubater. Tanya Hunt. Bill Hunsiker. Kenny Hunsiker. Kenneth Jansen. Sean Johnson. Robert Keeper. Glenn Clucky. Larry Clucky. Matt Kriegsizer. Romy Kriegsizer. Leland Clucky. Jackie Lee. Fred Luther. David McCabe. Kenny McKenzie. Leon Moots. Lonnie Murr. Joe Myers. Faith Parrish. Vance Parrish. Gerald Reeves. Robert Patterson Sr. Joe Paul. Colton Beebler. Gerald Perry. Jim Benson. Dale Prather. David Roush. Henry Roush. Rodney Roush. Shannon Rudd. Lawrence Schroeder. Benny Scott. Charles Pete Schultz. Randy Schultz. Delmer Strange. Jeff Skull. Jim Trimble. Lonnie Triplett. Bob Ward. Dan Whitaker. Richard Whitaker. Bob White. Doug White. Charlie Woodworth. Gary Yoakum. We have one, we're going to back up a little bit. Bryce Frankie. There he is. Terry White. Well, I want to take a moment at this point, if we didn't capture you on this list, because you made a today decision to come here, which is wonderful. We're glad you're here. We still want to recognize you. So if you could stand up at this point, we want to present you with a letter. Charlie Hanley. Thank you. We're glad you can be here with us today. We have a list here at this moment that's over 92 people long. That doesn't include the ones we had here at the end, so we continue to bring in almost 100 of our local veterans, which I think is a great accomplishment. To close our ceremony today, please rise as we honor our war dead with a rendition of Taps. Taps is a bugle call played at dusk during flag ceremonies and at military funerals by the United States Armed Forces. Its playing at lights out is one of my favorite memories from my time in the Army. This rendition will be played by Christopher Bowman. Thank you once again for attending this year's event. Please drive safely on your way home. This concludes this year's Veterans Day Assembly.